morning. Welcome to PN Global News, October 26th. I'm here with my partner, Jesse McRae. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good, brother. I'm really good. Blessed to be seen today.
And you're highly favored. And you're highly favored.
That, right? Chiquita Tate.
Well, hello. Good morning. How are you? I'm great. Wonderful.
Gotta bring us that marketing insight,
Yes, always.
First half of the show.
Okay.
And we got a guest in the house today. Victorious Evenson. How you doing this morning?
I am great. It is good to be amongst the land of the living.
That it is.
It's awesome.
Yeah, right. Land of the living. Hey, Jackson, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Glad to be here, being a part of this group this morning, getting things kicked off the right way. Perfect start to my day.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's good. It's a pleasure to have you guys here today. And we're going to get into some government contracting today. That's going to be a really good topic.
Yes, sir. Gotta love it.
We just got back from Detroit, and we were there for the NMSCC conference in Detroit, Michigan, man. It's really looking up to. So they got a whole lot of new things going on in Detroit. And Jesse, you got a chance?
Oh, it was a who's who. I mean, it was a who's who. I mean, we talk about the corporate participants and even some of the institutions that were there. And I think the biggest thing about that venue for me is, given my background coming from largely capital markets and private equity space, you go to these venues and it's the standard template, standard process.
Yeah.
You try to map it out before you get there. You land the day before it actually starts. You try to get out and survey the landscape, take a few cards, prepare to shake a few hands, but starting that next day, you kissing babies. You are shaking hands and kissing babies. Okay.
Right.
I saw a whole lot of grown folks older than me.
But you all catch my meaning. You catch my meaning because
understand.
because the thing is you're there for a primary reason of getting business. But what can make it gratifying is when you go in there and you start to you understand how to discern those that can be spheres of influence in your cause, also known as decision makers. Because ultimately your execution, when it's over, that's where the ROI comes in. But while you're there in the throes of it, it's like, oh my goodness, I got 15 cards left. Now I can't give out 10 in the first hour. You know, how do we play this off? But all humor aside, incredibly productive trip. Eye opener. Who's who?
I wish you guys had made it to Detroit just to experience the NMSTC side. But I know the government side seems too. But we did have we had a few government contractors there as well. So next year it's in Austin, Texas.
In the Lone Star State.
Great.
No excuses then. No excuses.
No excuses.
Texas.
Next year. Plus y'all part of the family of the PN team, the Playbook Investors Network team anyway.
Yes.
So you guys will definitely be participating in that. But hey, we got Allied in the house today, so let's talk a little bit about where you guys are today and what you're doing, and let's kind of explain to the viewing public and the listening audience who you are. So Victoria, you want to start off talking about your company?
Oh, yes. First and foremost, though, Rodney and Jesse, we definitely want to thank you for allowing us to be on the show today and being a part of this team as strategic partners with PN, because one thing with Allied, that's significant and important when it comes to government contracting. We started our firm in 2013. I'm the founder and CEO. Came from a corporate background. Chiquita and I were talking about that earlier. And I felt the need to help minority woman-owned businesses be successful in government contracting, and also with having best or implementing best practices and tools to get into government contracting. So when we first started out, we actually started out doing facilities work and janitorial work, landscaping work. Somebody's got to do it. Exactly. Exactly. So that we could lead by example on how to go out and win government procurement opportunities. And since my background was in banking, and I've always worked with SBA lending and helping minority-owned firms and small businesses obtain financing for their business, I thought, we need to really consult. And that's when Allied, we really looked at the strategy and we decided we are truly a business development consulting firm. And our niche is government contracting. How do we successfully help build and assist and build capacity for minority-owned businesses so that they can be scalable in government contracting.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's why, like, the key really to government contracting is strategic partnerships.
Right.
And that's why PEN is vital to what we're trying to do, because access to capital is the elephant in the room for most small businesses. It is. So, like,
can we get some capital some type of way?
yes, sir. Because a lot of people think, you land a government contract, it's $300,000. A lot of that is cost.
Yeah.
That means you got to have money to fund that project.
Right.
And that's why, again, strategic partners like you guys and what we're doing here today, educating people about the process and how to get this set up is essential. I say it's the only way you're going to win.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to win.
I mean, we've seen it. We've been on the ground for a long time. It had taken us 8 years to build this system, and we knew that was going to be viable. It was going to be something that was going to help, companies as a whole just get educated on how to gain access. Everybody don't have your skill set, though, Victoria, coming from the banking side. As a matter of fact, when we get off from the break, just teach us how to raise some more money. So, we're looking for money, everybody. As well. But Keita, I mean, you too, being a marketing firm and working on on the private and public side and the government side, marketing is essential to a lot of this business, but it takes money.
Yeah, it takes money for everything.
Yeah.
Everything. But Victoria, can you also expound on your leap of faith in starting the business? Because I think a lot of people want to know the background, like, how did you do that? For a lot of people, that's scary, being a woman, African-American woman, starting this business. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, that's a great question, too. And I just want to keep it real, too, Rodney, if I may.
Oh, this is being on the news. Hold up, right, Jesse?
The foundation of everything that we do is to keep it real.
One of the things, and specifically speaking to minorities and women-owned businesses, is that we have a drive and a passion and a desire, a dream that I want to become someone significant in my community. Yes. I want to make a difference. And that was really the passion that, I derived from, and the inner core and centering of myself is that I truly wanted to create a legacy.
Right.
And I actually grew up, came from a farm background, country girl. And country girl.
Hey, I understand that. I get that.
Let's not be modest.
Jesse and I understand.
We understand that farm, that southern thing. Trust me.
Grassroots.
Farm like chicken and cows.
Chicken and cows. Right, moo cows. Didn't eat my store-bought food until when I went off to college, because we lived off the farm.
Okay.
So you were Whole Foods before it was vogue to be Whole Foods.
Right, got started.
Okay.
Lived it.
Oh, wow.
But that leap of faith, since I came from a corporate background, working, my first job out of college was with American Airlines, and then I went into banking. I always had a desire for financing. But I also had an inner passion to help minorities, because as I was sitting in the bank and minorities would come into the bank asking for a loan, they really didn't understand or have the education of how money works for you, or how you can become bankable.
Right.
And I decided at that time, I want to step outside of this arena and let me go into their office. Let me sit down and have a one-on-one conversation, because different cultures or different minorities or cultural groups, they have a different mindset on how money works. It may mean putting your money under the mattress.
Yeah.
It may mean I'm going to go out here and get my hustle on and get this money, and then I'm going to take it and sell lemonade or what, but am I going to reinvest it back into my business?
I went and got cookies. And now later, so let's go. I'm not a bachelor. I did it.
And I just, I had, a strong desire to help minority businesses really structure their business. And I thought, if I can do this, that leap of faith, that's going to give me the strength and the power and the education where I could actually take this information and educate others.
Right.
So that was really my roadmap, was to truly educate others. And it just really fell into my lap. I actually also started to position myself around strategic partners.
Okay.
And I think that's something that minority-owned firms need to really look at, is really sitting down and put together a team that's going to help you be successful. And I think sometimes there's a fear with that, or I don't want somebody to steal my thunder or steal what my idea. But partnerships are essential in being successful.
And NDAs.
Most definitely. Got to protect yourself.
Oh man, a non-circumvent agreement can be a gold standard for a lot of things. But to your point, because this is one of the things that we talk about internally, is how do we continue to build out our template, but get the buy-in. Get the buy-in from entrepreneurs that have an idea that has gone from concept to commitment being the first seed round, because somebody had to believe in it for them to sort of build out the rest of their program to make sure that the idea has merit. And then they alpha test it, okay, soft launch. Then they beta test it, where they get that next round to where they really want to see what kind of demand is out there in the marketplace. But then that's when they realize, because, we go through an endeavor, there are just things you just don't know what you don't know. And so hindsight becomes real 2020 when all of a sudden you realize that you don't have all of the resources human for on the ground sort of execution. You don't have all the resources, equipment or technological, in terms of being able to aggregate the data, discern what it is, and determine what parts are actionable. And that's where strategic partners can be invaluable. And that really gets to the premise of PEN, because what we realize, even as good as we like to think we all are.
Think? Did he say think?
I said think.
Oh, okay. Know that we are good. Okay. I'm sorry, Jesse.
And we're pretty good. We're pretty good. But all humor aside, as capable as we believe we are, and as the marketplace has continued, thankfully, to help us demonstrate that we're pretty good, we realize that the true value in terms of the breadth and depth of what PEN is about also lies in our strategic partners.
Yeah.
And it's that single-mindedness that, look, if I could steal your idea, I would have done it. If you could steal my idea, you would have done it. Let's leave that to the side, leave all our egos at the door. Let's execute all the documentation we need to execute to give everyone peace of mind that our interests are truly aligned. How do we go out and execute? Because at the end of the day, when someone comes to PEN, when someone comes to your concern, or somebody comes to our concern, they are trying to get capital. If revenue is the lifeblood of an operation, capital is the anatomy.
Yeah, it is. Capital is important to all these partnerships and strategic partnerships. We just truly believe, like you say, the partnerships is key. That's why we want to align ourselves with you. We don't do government contracting. That's not what we do. And you guys have done government contracting, and you're trying to help companies understand how that space really works. And truthfully speaking, a lot of us are in different spaces and still don't understand our own space. And that's the truth. I mean, it's tough to go and tell somebody, well, I know you've been doing this 5 years, but truthfully, you're doing it wrong.
Very tough, especially somebody like you say, somebody's been in business 25 years, and you come around and tell them, hey, there needs to be changes.
Yeah.
You need to make very tough, especially when again they've had some success in that market. They're generating some revenue, and then you have to go back and peel back that onion a little bit and see, well, how much of that revenue is actually profit,
Right.
and how much of that profit is really what's going in your pocket or what's going towards your business.
Knowing the numbers.
Right.
So you're about to have one.
Before he continues on with this next part of the sermon, we need to take a break. So we'll be right back with more PEN Global News.
In a minute.
Staying hydrated is key to living a healthy life. So why not make sure the water you drink is the healthiest water possible? Earth Water is dedicated to producing healthy, refreshing water that packs up to 70 trace minerals in each bottle. Their mineral complexes are 100% natural, and their water is sourced from pure, fresh Texas springs. Their premium alkaline water helps you reach maximum hydration so you can live your healthiest life possible. Earth Water is more than just water. It's a lifestyle. Around the world, athletes, competitors, homesteaders and adventurers have chosen Earth Water as their water of choice, taking it with them from ringside to courtside to mountainside. Their proprietary blend of fulvic and humic complexes bind to over 70 trace minerals and deliver them into the body for better absorption and maximum benefit. At Earth Water, they believe everyone should live their healthiest life, and they're dedicated to producing products that make that possible. Shop Earth Water now, exclusively on Amazon, and visit earthwater.com to learn more.
PN Global News, October 26th. We also got our other partner back in the house now, Mr. Antonio Davis.
AD.
Good morning, AD.
How's everybody doing, man?
We good.
It's
We
good.
We're just visiting with our guest here from Allied, Ms. Victoria Stevenson and Mr. David Jackson. And David had a prayer cloth moment right
before the break.
David was getting ready to put a sermon together, man, when he walked into the church.
Hey, the ushers were starting to go down the aisle and get in place so the tray could come down.
I was about to say, collect that money, bring that plate.
we talking about raising some capital.
Yes, sir.
That's the plate around right now, right?
Can I get an amen?
Yeah.
Amen.
But no, David, you was expounding on, people don't really know their business is tough. For people who've been in business 25, 30 years or 10 years and really didn't know where they could take the business.
Extremely tough, and a lot of it, especially again in the government contracting space. Let's stay there for a minute. Mm-hmm. Understanding how to price your services. You have to understand again the cost of those services, and a lot of people don't know the true cost of their services because you go out, you say, "Oh, I can lay carpet, I can build roofs." And you say it's about a $15,000 project. I get $10,000 of that, and I'll pay my workers $5,000. But you don't know what that actual true cost is because you always just figuring what can go in your pocket.
Right.
And that's what, again, that's the backbone of small businesses, though,
right.
Being able to hustle, have that kind of mentality. But then you have to shore it up with the numbers, with the facts, and that's again how you can actually go and leverage the fact of relationships like we had with Penn. You cannot go to a lending institution or an investor not having those numbers shored up. You can't go out there with an idea like, well, I know I usually do it like this. No, where's the facts and the numbers behind that to support us properly investing in your firm, mm-hmm. in your business, in your dream?
Right.
Like, because again, a lot of times we talk with bankers. And again, with her banking background, a lot of people come into the banks and they're asking for money. I need just $20,000. What kind of business are you running? You just need $20,000. Yeah. What kind of business is it really? Yeah. I need $20,000. Well, I need to see what is this? How does this even benefit me giving you just $20,000? And this is a real legitimate business.
Because I have a return I have to generate for my shareholders.
Exactly. And $20,000, I don't think that's going to get it done. It's just not realistic. Right. So having companies go through different programs that we provide, because again, that's why companies come to us, identifying how do we really get in the government contracting space, what is it really going to take? And again, the first thing that we cite is always access to capital. That's the first thing. You gotta address that. And the only way to address it is to really know the numbers behind your business. You got to know those numbers. You got to shore things up.
Here lies the business plan or PPM.
Exactly.
The tools, the game plan that we actually provide, because they got to have a business plan. Or from the investment standpoint, a PPM.
Yeah, we call it follow the blueprint. Follow the blueprint.
Follow the blueprint.
Understanding how you're going to be able to debt service the loan.
Well, let's expound on the debt services, Victoria.
Well, with debt servicing the loan, is you've got to be able to say, and that's where government contract actually provides another revenue stream, because it allows you and allows the bank to see that you're going to have guaranteed money that's going to come in every month, because that contract with government contracting, it can be good for a year. It can have a renewable contract on there, where renewable terms, where that contract could be good for 3 to 5 years, but that's guaranteed revenues that's coming into the bank, are coming into your account every month.
So the upstream is real. The upstream is real.
Exactly. That's debt servicing the loan. And then also, one of the things that, I was even thinking about even earlier, just driving in here today, is that when we talk to small businesses and you go into a bank, get a line of credit. You don't have to use that line of credit right then, but use it to leverage your guaranteed or government contract, so that later on, when you're ready to scale your business or build capacity, now you can pull out that line of credit and it can be useful for your business.
Right. And a lot of businesses do struggle. They don't have a good relationship with the bank or community bank. There's no line of credit.
There's no access to capital. There's no way to there's no way to get anything done.
But I did have one question, because, pardon me, we talk a lot about getting the capital and the approach to getting the capital, but this represents an investment risk for the bank. And we all know that if perception is reality, the reality is that you still represent risk as a borrower. So when we talk about the debt service, we've talked about upstream and the revenue, which is a very, very good thing. But how important is it for that borrower to also be able to walk that prospective lender through the numbers to not just show the revenue, but where they're making an allocation for debt service, but then also what they're leaving in the till for retained earnings? Because all of that contributes to a rise in enterprise value. I mean, isn't this about building enterprise value? Yeah. Right. So kind of speak through that to some degree that you can, as far as offering guidance on how to talk through those numbers and paint this judicious fiduciary picture that we know these banks like to see.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's one of the first things as a entrepreneur or small business, we want to come in and we want to talk about our services. This is what we provide. This is what we provide. But really, as an investor, you want to understand, do you understand how your firm makes money? Okay, so this is what we do. We're a construction firm, and I'm just using that as an example.
That's good.
Our cost to build this house or build this building is X. Our labor cost is X. And then here is our gross profit. And here's how we can, and you're explaining this to the bank, okay? And we also input maybe 3% contingency. So if anything were to happen, we've built in a contingency.
So they've gotten to EBITDA at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Not free cash flow yet, but EBITDA. All right.
So if you can really...
Time out. There you go with them words.
There you go. Get it, baby.
We don't let that slide around here. And I knew this was going to happen with Jesse on the show. It always happens when Jesse starts talking.
Throwing out those
look at him
acronyms.
like you're a little crazy. You know what I mean? And it's like, listen, dude, rewind that a little bit and slow it down. So I'm going to ask you that again. Explain what EBITDA is.
I'll tell you what.
I kind of know, but
yeah, no, I know you know, big brother. I know you know, but you know what? Chivalry isn't dead. So I'm going to allow this young lady to articulate that from Ally's perspective.
Okay.
Would you please, ma'am?
Yes. Okay. So EBITDA is actually taking your revenues and your expenses. Okay, so then if you minus out your expenses from your revenues, so let's say your revenues was $1,000.
Right.
I know that's really small for you.
I'm like, can we just think big? Yeah. Like, your revenue was $10
$million.
And your expenses was $500.
Right.
Okay, and then now they want to be able to see that if on a personal side, when you're going to buy a house, your debt to income ratio.
That's it.
So they typically want your debt to income ratio to be about 43%, 41%, especially maybe HUD getting a HUD FHA loan. So they want your debt to income ratio to be in that category. So it would be the same thing with your business.
Right.
They want your debt to income ratio to be at a certain percentage.
Okay.
Because then that lets the bank know that you're not at a risk
Okay.
factor, or
it's
you're
all
getting
about
ready
risk.
to go into bankruptcy.
Got it.
Right, right.
So,
Got it.
and that is one of the things that we probably do need to focus on a little bit about, and just speak candidly about it.
man, we need to be open.
Keep your expenses low. A lot of times, small businesses, as soon as they get that first contract, again, you're dealing from a place of emotion. And we kind of talked about that earlier today, that passion, that drive. Let's have some good business practices. And I think educating our minority-owned firms, again, about EBITDA and debt to income ratio, but really keeping your expenses low. You may not need all that labor in the beginning. You got to really think, what do I really need? Not my wants, my needs to make this project a true success.
Right.
Because those expenses can really get you into a lot of trouble, because you can where you're over capacity, and that's really not what you want to reflect and show when you're getting ready to sit down and go to an investor.
Sure.
And say, all right, I'm ready for a loan now. I'm ready for you to invest in my business, because that's the first thing they're going to look at. Not so much your revenues, but your expenses. Are you a risk factor?
And what's your burn rate? That's exactly where I was going with it. I know that we were in Detroit, we were talking about, it's one thing to have the business plan, it's another thing in terms of how it's presented. Right. And we talked about costs, because there's always a cost in doing business. There's this concept called absolute performance versus relative performance. And in the case of expenses, usually with new concerns or those that have historically been in business less than 5 years, the burn rate's going to be higher. Even if the expenses are static, the burn rate's going to be a little bit higher because the expenses are still most likely outpacing revenues. So they're absolutely burning through cash. But over time, Q1, Q2, Q3, if we're showing that those losses are getting smaller, you're still losing money, but they're getting smaller. Now you're showing a record and presenting it as it is, that it is beginning to perform. So now what represented more risk in Q1 over time throughout the year is representing less risk from a cost perspective.
That's an improvement in productivity and
Absolutely.
efficiency.
Absolutely.
And that goes straight to why we actually, when we started the firm, we got into the government contracting space versus just being a business development consulting firm in any space. Chose government contracting as the niche because it forces small businesses to do that. Right. It forces minority-owned business owners to really look at how can we improve our efficiency, our productivity, and also build capacity. And people ask all the time, well, how does government contracting force people to do that? Because of the way it's set up, the structure of it. It's a very time-sensitive type of business environment. You got deadlines here. Something is due, let's say today, at 2 p.m. At 2:01, it's over. It's done. It's a wrap.
No, even better. They told you to turn in a 16-page document. And you turn in a 15 or 17 page, done.
Font size 11, 3-ring binder.
3-ring binder.
Yeah. So
CD, flash drive.
Right? Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about. So you got minority businesses in the private and public sector. Not a whole lot in the public side, because a lot of us build businesses and we don't know how to take them public. We don't build a business to take it public. That's something most minority companies. Or, but yeah, that's most African American companies don't do, is to build a business and take it public. But the crossover from the private public space, Why is it important for them to actually get into the government space?
Most importantly is because, like we said, it forces you to build capacity, improve efficiency, which again, like he said, those risks and that money that you're losing earlier, it becomes less because you're more efficient and effective at your processes, which means cost continually goes down, or it stabilizes at least as your revenue continues to grow. And again, you have a very stable customer. Like who wouldn't want a customer that's good for paying? You know, they're
It's
gonna
an
pay you.
annuitized business. Who doesn't want an annuity, right?
Exactly. And then again, there's co-op purchasing. So where you could get a contract with this agency and you do your job right, it can open up other opportunities. And again, with the government, we always like to say they have a scheme. Again, they have a blueprint. Yeah. And a lot of times when people hear scheme, they think negative connotation. But in basketball, they say offensive scheme. That's a good thing. You know, you got a good offensive scheme. And what we got to do is, yeah. Like I say, because played against some great players. Played against Jordan, Iverson, all them. Great offensive talents, but you had to come up with a defensive scheme to match that, though, right? You got to have something to match it. That's what we do with the government contract in place. We're like, man, you got to match what they're doing. You got to match that scheme.
Well, look here. We're going to come back after the break. We're going to keep on diving into this government contracting thing. I'm Rodney Woods at PN Global News. My partner, Jesse McRae, Antonio Davis, Ms. Victoria, and David. We'll be back after the break.
Staying hydrated is key to living a healthy life. So why not make sure the water you drink is the healthiest water possible? Earth Water is dedicated to producing healthy, refreshing water that packs up to 70 trace minerals in each bottle. Their mineral complexes are 100% natural, and their water is sourced from pure, fresh Texas springs. Their premium alkaline water helps you reach maximum hydration, so you can live your healthiest life possible. Earth Water is more than just water. It's a lifestyle. Around the world, athletes, competitors, and adventurers have chosen Earth Water as their water of choice, taking it with them from ringside to courtside to mountainside. Their proprietary blend of fulvic and humic complexes bind to over 70 trace minerals and deliver them into the body for better absorption and maximum benefit. At Earth Water, they believe everyone should live their healthiest life, and they're dedicated to producing products that make that possible. Shop Earth Water now, exclusively on Amazon, and visit earthwater.com to learn more.
We're back at PN Global News. Rodney Woods is my partners. Jesse McRae.
That would be me.
Antonio Davis. Victoria and David. So, man, yeah, we're talking about this government contracting thing, and it's a good place to be, you know, for a lot of companies who really, you know, need structure and need to understand the process of things. So that's one thing we try to do with PN, and we're happy about our partnership with Allied, you know, because I think that's going to strengthen
Both ways, feeling definitely mutual.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say AD, and you used some basketball analogy. That was good for Antonio.
Good stuff.
So
Yeah, here we go. We're about to get nostalgic. We're going to get nostalgic.
Man, what's going on? You don't have to use basketball terms or any of that. I'm following this thing. I'm following it.
But I want to ask him, you know, so Antonio has another company that's doing work in, you know, various companies, big companies as well. How would you transition him in a private space? What would you do to get him to try to come into the government space and do the same work? But you can expound on what you guys are doing in Atlanta and a couple of places.
Well, I think we've learned a lot. We were doing low voltage stuff we started really residential. We were doing a lot of AV work, so putting TVs on the wall, cameras, alarm systems, all that. And then as we start looking at the commercial space and realizing there was a lot of opportunity there, we jumped into that space via a friend. And as we began to feel our way through this space, we start having all these issues, and we needed to raise some capital, which basically meaned that I need to reach in my pocket and get us, make sure that we could pay people every Friday, because we start realizing that those terms of 60, 90, 120 days just wasn't working for us. But as we begin to maneuver and learn the space and realize that there were certain things that they needed, and once we met those needs, we were able to discuss our terms, then everything just started to line up. And we've just gotten to a place now where, like you said, our processes are much more efficient and ready to go. People look at us a different way. We've had to, streamline everything a certain way and fire some people and hire some other people. I'm saying all this to say that we have learned to do business a certain way that has allowed us to say that this is what our term is going to be. And now that we are in this, we've written this last big contract, and it is 30 days, we're able to go back in and say, hey, we need this line of credit, or we need this money because we're paying people. We got money coming in for the next 18 months, but this is our needs, and we're only going to need it for the first quarter, because after that we'll have enough cash.
It was a cash flow management sort of endeavor.
Yeah, well, listen. Now that I know what I know,
That's business. Cash flow management
the whole
is business.
back office is about to be redone because there are so many things that we're not doing right. We weren't even minority certified.
Yeah.
We weren't. There's a lot of things we just weren't doing. But I was so proud of us that, first of all, we knew we had to learn some things. We allowed people to come in and tell us to change some things, do it different. We didn't give up. And we finally got in this space and understand it. And would love, I'm glad you guys are talking about those government contracts, because it was one of the things that I kept telling my partner, like, yo, we're missing some stuff. I don't know where, but we are missing some things. And I know that, we're kind of headed in the right direction, but there's some things we need to clean up in the back, because I think our foundation was only set for us being at a certain place. And now that we're growing, and we have to hire some other people because the job is just too big now, I think we're in a perfect position to get cleaned up and go and then ask for some more capital.
Man, said a mouthful. Said a mouthful right there, and touched on so many reasons why we're in the space that we're in, and why people come to us for assistance in the government contracting space. Managing cash flow, understanding what your ceiling is. Have you actually created a ceiling for your business by some of the things that you set up for as your business's infrastructure? You've created a ceiling that shouldn't be there.
Right.
And again, just education, knowing the different areas where you can diversify your business, and like what you're alluding to. Why do companies come to us? How we could actually help his company go and get into that space. Somebody that's already having success on the private side. How do you get into the public side? Why come into the public side? And Victoria spoke about it earlier. A lot of people do things because of passion, emotions. So what we do is we take that intuitive approach out of it, and we look at facts. So what we do is we're going to show him some facts. Show him, okay, where is the money being spent based on the services you provide, based on your socioeconomic status. So we want to look at that, and then from there we see, okay, how can we really get a piece of this market share? What part of it is really for us? What part of it is for us based in the state that we're in? And just peeling back that onion on all those different things to discover where the opportunity really lies. And then, like you said, getting with certain partners that can help me penetrate that. Because it's not going to be done by yourself. You got to align yourself with the right people, the right teams. That's what it takes.
We advocate that every day. Partnerships, strategic partnerships, joint ventures if you have to. It's hard to get out of sometimes, but partnerships is key.
It's underused because of, honestly, in the minority community, African American community, there's a lack of trust. There's a lack of trust amongst business owners, and because of that, we just cannot unify to move this forward. And again, that's why we're so excited about this relationship, because we're going to show people, it can be done. We're going to be, we're going to lead by example with this one.
Big time. Big time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Playbook Investors Network. Oh, we're going to lead by example.
Yeah, like I said, we are going to make money and show them how it's done, how to do it.
Because one of the things we always talk about is that we'll be able to show you better, we can never tell you.
Definitely.
You know.
That's the thing, right?
And I think something else that's very significant here is that when we look at a business and we will do an assessment of your business, we're really focused on what agency, like David talked about a while ago, is okay. We'll identify which agency is the best fit for you, because that's one of the things when we first get into government contracting. I want to provide my service to everyone, but you have to become laser focused, and maybe it's a city municipality, maybe it's the Corps of Engineers, but what agency out there really is a great fit for your service offering, so that you can align a relationship with them, because you're looking for a long-term relationship, because you talked about 18 months. We're talking about long-term. So now when you sit down and you're ready to access capital, I have a 5-year contract now with GSA. And that's what you're looking for now, Antonio. It's okay, we know how to do this business. We've learned from our mistakes. We've streamlined some processes. Now we're ready for a long-term contract. And that's what you're going to get out of government contract. And that's where Ally can assist you.
That's awesome. I mean, if we had that, we'd be good. We'd be
You got
good.
partnership with allies, so you do have.
Learn that I have a lot of stuff. Exactly.
We got to give
Exactly.
him some surprises and everything like that. He walk into like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm okay now. You know what? The other thing that I will say is that it was funny when I met my partner, and he had a lot of stuff that he did well. And I find this out with whether you are a lawyer, doctor, whatever, you know your craft, but you don't know how to monetize. You don't know a business structure. You don't know any of that. And a lot of times, we piecemeal everything together, hoping that one day we'll be in a place where we can buy structure. And what I try to tell him is that we need to, every night make it a point to get online and reach out to people or learn something that can help us be more efficient and be more right. And I'm glad that we're having these conversations, and I've shared a lot of these videos with him, because he begins to see things a totally different way. Because at some point, he's wearing so many hats, and I'm trying to get him to understand which hat he needs to wear right now, because where we are, he really needs to kind of manage what's on the ground, and we need to hire somebody in the back office, because it doesn't work. He can't do both. The project is too big now. Before, he can wear all those hats, and we were saving money, but I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Shouts out to you, Terry. Rodney Woods said,
called him out.
You need help, baby. We coming. AD, tell Terry.
I got him. I got
Big
him.
shouts
I
out,
got
Terry.
it. Yeah, I got
Because
it.
what did we say earlier? As good as we like to think we are, and we're pretty good,
Right.
Yeah.
but we can't be great at everything.
Right.
Well, go ahead, Rodney. I'm sorry.
You also announced the company that you guys have.
We're DAT Systems. DAT Systems has, like I said, started in the with a lot of housing and stuff. We've gone to the commercial side, and it's been a phenomenal ride these last few years. We've formed a lot of relationships that we didn't think we would be able to.
Right.
And what I'm trying to help him do now is, continue to open doors, because the commercial space is just so huge. And in Atlanta, it is growing and thriving, and there's a lot of things coming there. And we're just trying to get at that table when things are coming, and not after everything is established.
And I came down and met with you and Terry in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And for DAT Systems, and I saw the potential that you guys had then. So Terry, listen, man. Let's do this. Let's get some people in there, and let's grow this business across the globe, man. All right, Terry? Victoria, you were getting ready to expound on some things.
Well, I was just going to, just mention here, when we start a business, we wear all those hats, and it's like, I've got to clean the building. I've got to cut the checks. I've got to cash the checks when the checks come in, but I got to answer the phones, and you're wearing all those hats. And I can definitely appreciate what you were saying, because I actually experienced that when I first started the business. My skill set is business development, it's client relations, it's sitting down and consulting. That's where I thrive.
Right.
I can get to the key decision makers.
Right.
I don't have a fear of that. I want to zone in and get to the key decision maker, and then let's sit down and let's see how we can work together.
Right.
That's how we got with Penn.
That's how we got with Penn. I kept calling him.
And I'm like, yes, ma'am, on my way.
He was on his way to do a show, and I was on the phone with him. Well, when you get off that show, call me. So,
Yes, ma'am.
I know. And
Yes,
he did.
ma'am. As soon as I got the show, I'll call
Yes,
you on my
and
drive back to
right,
Dallas.
and he came into our office not once, not twice. He came into our office 3 times to get to know Allied, and so I appreciate you for that, Rodney. But I decided, I had to really take a look at my business because it was important to me. I felt like I was passionate about it. I put a lot into this business, and I really want to see it be successful. But I've got to take, a step back and really be honest with myself and say, am I really good for this business in every capacity? And when I found the answer, it didn't look good.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't an operational person. I wasn't one that everything had to line up. I was organized, and I'm a visionary. I'm a bulldog. We're gonna make this happen.
Right.
And
I'm not gonna say that.
we're gonna make this happen. So, and I had a great team, but I wasn't delegating and giving them the accountability and sense of responsibility to take charge. And so I had to lean on to my COO, David Jackson here, and we had to really sit down together, go behind closed doors, and it wasn't pretty because I had to listen.
Right.
And he had to tell me everything I was doing wrong. And all I could say, for real? For real? This is really me?
Yeah.
But you really have to look at your team and say, where are their strong suits? And team is the key word because they're there for a reason. They want to see the organization be a success, which is what you're talking about. When you finish at the end of the day, let's study, what can we do? So I think bringing David on board and letting him run, allowing him, he runs the operations.
Right.
And I'm really glad I made that change.
That's a good thing.
It's awesome.
The numbers made her make that change. The facts.
I understand now.
The picture is clear now.
We get behind closed doors all the time. But listen, we're going to get ready to take a break. We're going to come back here at PN Global News. Rodney Woods, Victoria, David Jackson, Jesse McRae, and Antonio Davis will be back after the break.
We're locked in.
Staying hydrated is key to living a healthy life. So why not make sure the water you drink is the healthiest water possible? Earth Water is dedicated to producing healthy, refreshing water that packs up to 70 trace minerals in each bottle. Their mineral complexes are 100% natural, and their water is sourced from pure, fresh Texas springs. Their premium alkaline water helps you reach maximum hydration so you can live your healthiest life possible. Earth Water is more than just water. It's a lifestyle. Around the world, athletes, competitors, and adventurers have chosen Earth Water as their water of choice, taking it with them from ringside to courtside to mountainside. Their proprietary blend of fulvic and humic complexes bind to over 70 trace minerals and deliver them into the body for better absorption and maximum benefit. At Earth Water, they believe everyone should live their healthiest life, and they're dedicated to producing products that make that possible. Shop Earth Water now, exclusively on Amazon, and visit earthwater.com to learn more.
PN Global News. Also, go out and visit us at www.playbookandinvestorswithinNetwork.com. www.playbookinvestorsnetwork.com. We're here at PN Global News today, October 26th, with Victoria and David Jackson in the house.
Pleasure.
And we're enjoying every bit of this. We know we got some transitional things we need to do. We got a good partnership moving forward as we continue to scale throughout the market in all 50 states. And we just got back, as I said earlier in the show, we got back from Detroit. And I think that was an eye-opener for Jesse and Antonio, who got a chance to experience it. And there's so much crossover from the private public sector to the government sector until it's just unreal. But I think we do have to educate a lot of suppliers. They can do both. You guys just got to partner with these new companies too, right?
Yes, definitely can do both. And have success with it.
Absolutely.
It's key that you, again, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and be always willing to, like you said, your partner willing to listen, be willing to see the opportunities that potentially there, and allow someone to, share that insight and information with you. Be open to it.
Right.
Because, again, there's a lot of opportunities in many sectors.
Yeah. So, Jess, I know you were expounding on some things that you really wanted Victoria to actually expound on the accounting side.
Sure. Because it again, like we talked about earlier, is our ambitions lie in the revenue. Our cautions lie in the cost. Our reality lies in those audited financials, because it is a historical financial record of what we've done, what we made, what we spent, and hopefully what we left in the kitty, called retained earnings. I love retained earnings because that to me speaks to the spirit of and the culture of that enterprise. Yeah, we're gonna write checks and we're gonna hire people and pay them well. But what are you leaving in the business? Because that business is what was invested in. So the question that I had is, once we've gone to the bank, we've shown them that we've got the contract, public or private. We've gone through and shown them the costs through our income statement, our pro forma. We're showing that over time that red number is becoming gray and that gray number is becoming green. Speak to the real teeth behind the accounting, because it's just numbers on a page. It's just a formula in a cell on a screen. But the process of the accurate accounting, from the reporting from the customer, reporting to the customer, and then the accounting for all of our activities.
Okay. First and foremost, I definitely want to encourage everyone to get a CPA or a bookkeeper. You have to, that needs to be the first thing, and a lawyer, but definitely get a bookkeeper and a CPA, just because a lot of times, again, you're just understanding the services that you offer and what you specialize in, but you really don't understand how to keep good financial records, good accounting principles, and really, you really just may not know that because you're really specialized in your service offering. That's where the CPA or the accountant or a bookkeeper would come into play. So you talked about retained earnings, and that is you want them to be healthy. And I think, again, when we talk about minorities, is that, and David talked about it earlier, you have gross profit and then you have your net income. So that net income is really taking that information in, or that income, and reinvesting it back into your business so that your business can become scalable. And then the other is, let's say that your business is voltage or AV. Well, real estate, I'm just using that as an example, that's a great opportunity. Reinvest your money back into your business so that it can become scalable, but then diversifying those revenues into owning real estate. And that's something that I'm becoming very passionate about, that I want to talk to small businesses about, and specifically minority businesses, is that how can we reinvest back into our communities? Because when we look at distressed communities and we look at high wealth investors, they are reinvesting back into these communities, but are we as a people reinvesting back into those communities? So when you talk about retained earnings, that's a good place to start after you have a healthy reinvestment back into your own firm, but reinvesting back into our community.
Mm-hmm. So we're having a few technical problems. Is my mic working now? Okay. All right. So, we talk about the reinvestment platform amongst ourselves all the time. And that's why we have partnerships with Antonio and Tracy and all the other brand influencers about how do we, and he's a strong advocate about how do we get a lot of these guys to really look at their own community. How do we own manufacturing plants? How do we reinvest back in the community? How do we create jobs in the community? That's all we talk about, every day, and it's working because it's getting out about what we're doing now, collaborative as a team, the show that we're doing. Antonio's talking back to his peers, Tracy's talking to his peers, and I think more importantly, start seeing us really lead by example. It's going to start to trickle down, and you get a lot of that. Just when a lot of guys will call you on the day, they're like, "Hey, man, how do I do this? We just don't know."
That's where it starts too. That's where it starts. Again, educating, and then also reaching down and pulling somebody else up. We've worked with a lot of large black-owned firms, to be honest, that have done great things, but then at the same time they say, you know, I'm really not looking to expand any further. I'm not looking to grow anymore. I'm content. You've reached contentment for yourself because now it's about you. It's not about your community. It's not about helping anymore.
Right.
Because I'm making enough now. I'm good. My kids are good. But what about the community that you came from, the community that you're now in? What are you doing to improve that? And I make it, and now, well, I did it. You got to do your own thing. It can't be that way. We gotta definitely go in and lift up and be willing to, like you said, because it's about hiring and bringing on others to get into that space as well.
That's it.
Just two things real quick here is that, because we've been talking about government contracting, and just to make sure that everyone really understands, the government buys everything. So think about it, it's your tax dollars that are being spent. So then when they go out and they decide they want to build a new infrastructure, so a certain percentage of those funds has to be allocated to a minority-owned firm. So when we talk about reinvestment, so there's a minority firm that they have to award a certain percentage of those contracts out to a minority-owned firm, whether that's African American, Hispanic, Native American, and a woman-owned business. They have to award that out to them. So now here's a minority-owned firm that needs capital so that they can continue through the process. So this is where we reinvest back into that minority-owned firm. That's reinvested back into your own community now so I can feed my children. Now my children can go off to college. I mean, we're making it very simple terms. Then the other is real estate. Those are the two. You got to have a place to live. So one, we still want to buy a home because I worked, you know, I said I came from banking, and then I worked with Fannie and Freddie and HUD, and these homes are there available, but let's reinvest back into the community so that we can get us back into home ownership. And maybe we might need to rent into home ownership. We may need to rent first, but still that's an investment back into the community. So I just think those are two areas that we could really look at. Reinvestment, minorities, how do we do it? Reinvest into minority-owned firms that are going after government contracting. They need access to capital. Pen.
That's the pen template right there.
There we go.
We definitely concur. I mean, I know that some of us kind of dabbled into the real estate. I know, Antonio, you probably have the most experience with real estate because, you know, you've had a pretty extensive real estate portfolio. But when we come back from the break, we're going to let Antonio kind of expound on, you know, what he saw and the do's and don'ts. And maybe we can, you know, encourage and inspire a whole lot of people to really get engaged with what we're trying to get accomplished across the United States, as well as bleed in global markets. So we'll be back after the break at Penn Global News.
Staying
back at PN Global News, and hopefully,
Can I have my mic back?
yeah, in a minute. Let me share this with you. Is that okay? Well, because people couldn't hear me speak. Well, yeah, we're a team here, so AD and Jesse will allow me to share their mics. I'm so sorry that you couldn't hear the video because we had a technical problem. But anyway, we're back at PN Global News, October 26th.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Rodney Woods, Jesse McRae, Antonio Davis, Victoria Stevenson, and David Jackson from Allied. So, again, for the viewing public and the listening audience, we apologize about that. But we're going to get back into what we're talking about, with government contracting. And we were actually now talking a little bit about the real estate. And Antonio's had a lot of experience in real estate, in your portfolio. Yeah. So some of the challenges you see, because we're talking about reinvesting in our communities, talk about a little bit of that and some things you've seen over the years in real estate. And I mean, maybe we can inspire so many other guys to do what Antonio's done, is to put it back.
You know what? I started off really doing a lot of commercial real estate where, there were strip malls and office buildings and things of that nature. And then when I started to retire in 05, 06, and 07, the market went crazy. So what I've been talking about was, getting more into the development side, because you don't feel that volatility when things go bad, So, and then to kind of tie it all in, really starting to think differently since I've been involved with the pen about how do we, if we're going to be into real estate, what's the best way so that we're doing something for us, and whether it's going in and investing into the community from a standpoint of refurbishing houses and owning them to rent them out and hopefully find tenants who are healthy enough to then buy them, whatever the case may be, we have to start thinking differently. And to me, that starts with creating jobs back in our community. So if we can do that, then we allow people to hopefully then start thinking differently. So this is just a paradigm shift of where I used to be as far as, okay, where the money is in strip malls or commercial real estate. Well, maybe, but it doesn't mean that I'm doing the right things. And I've been talking to a lot of guys now who are making a ton of money, and it's not just about themselves or their families or the kids' or any of that. Now we have to start thinking of ways to change things and make a huge change. And I think one of the ways that we can make a huge impact is, as Rodney was trying to get Tracy to understand that owning this plant can create jobs, will bring back people from way out there into where they were, raised and born and all of that, and then they can take those houses and leave them to their kids, and we can start something. If we strike this match and start this fire, I think that, things will slowly start to change, and it can change just by one guy going back into this community. Because like I said, if we're just endorsing a product, say Nike has, LeBron is a guy for Nike forever. Okay, you'll get your money, you ride off into the sunset. But if you force Nike to put you in a situation where you're owning some manufacturing or you're creating some jobs somewhere, then this thing will be going when you're gone, when you can't be a Nike guy anymore, any of that. So it's just thinking differently, and I'm glad you guys are here because it gives us another avenue, another relationship, another circle we can run in to hopefully continuously make this change.
Yeah, I'm definitely tie that to the government contracting space, because that's one of our key points of emphasis is ownership. And where are you going to own? Where are you going to build? Where are you going to develop? Commercial real estate is a space available in government contracting. They lease and purchase buildings all the time for different services, different agencies. But what I've identified for minority-owned businesses, a great way for us to get started would be in hub zones. Hub zone, historically underutilized business zones. These are for federal contracting opportunities. And what it can do is it can create subsidies for your business and also contracting opportunities where, again, like Victoria spoke about, the federal government is going to set aside a certain amount of their spending, 3%, to hub zone certified businesses. But during our research, this is what we identified. In these hub zones, they're primarily owned by Asian American, Hispanic American but no African Americans are going out and buying these plots of land and setting up our shopping centers in there. It's one of those things where
I didn't even know.
You know how it works.
I always wondered how homeboy got the little store on the corner.
Yes. Like usually what we get in there is we got our barbershop in there.
Exactly. I was always like, yo, man, how you get?
It goes back to what he said. So we can build in the hub zone, which is where a lot of us come from. Yeah. We can build in that zone, but then we also hire from that zone. That's part of the hub zone program. Right. In order to qualify for it, you have to hire at least 35% of your employees from a hub zone. So it's a perfect fit to get done what we're trying to do, but we have to be educated on it first and foremost.
We need to do a whole segment on that.
No question. And the beautiful part about this program is there's the perception that it is only for a select few. Well, yes, this is for a select few, because if you think about the spirit of Hub, historically underutilized. Yes, it's a 3% commitment. I said a couple of shows ago, okay, so that's 3 cents on the dollar, but at least it's 3 cents, because it was nothing prior to that. So when you look at companies that are looking to go into that space, they realize that the opportunity is there, that the resources have been earmarked, and there's legislation with teeth behind it to give it long-term potential. What would you advise as being the next step? Because we know what the end game is going to be to go and get the capital. But a couple of shows ago, we talked about, is enough being done? Penn Global News, we want to always make sure this is a venue for reflection. It's great to talk about our ambitions, but are we positioning ourselves to execute at the level that we need to execute to make those materialize? So what would you recommend the next step be for that company that's looking to go get that contract to position themselves to go get that? What do they need to do? Is it to map out their business plan? Is it to put together a pro forma? Is it to begin to try and identify specific networks or spheres of influence to bring onto their team to give them breadth and depth of expertise? What would you say is the next step?
The next step would be having the ability to apply knowledge and skill, which that's the definition of intelligence.
Say that again.
Having the ability to apply knowledge and skill. That is the definition of the word intelligence. And again, it starts with having the knowledge. So if you don't have the knowledge, you got to go and build the partnerships with people that do. If you have the skill or you don't have the skill, you got to go find the people that have the skill. So that's the first thing you have to do. Like you said, it's all about action. Like, everybody say an idea by itself is worthless. You gotta put something behind it. So the first thing is identifying where you can get that knowledge, identifying resources like Penn and what we're doing here, identifying those resources, and then taking a step. Honestly, in the Black community, this is a major thing that we are aware of a lot of things that are going on. We know we have issues with this, issues with that, but we don't address it.
They're being apathetic. You're not saying they're being apathetic, right?
No.
knowing that there's a problem and not doing anything about it?
Yeah. So this is just the nature of what we do. An opportunity will come, and then we say, I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. And that's because you didn't want to address the things when they occurred.
That's right.
We don't want to get our credit checked because, I know something wrong with my credit. But once you get it addressed, you know now what you got to do to fix it. So once we start addressing these things, again, we'll have a better ability to apply that intelligence and have more success. Again, especially in the government contracting space, you have to be willing to address these things with your business, period. But again, especially in the government contracting space, got to address those things.
Because there's nothing worse than ambiguity.
Nothing.
One must know. So now that they've gone through the process, that they've asked the tough questions, they've opened themselves up to be asked the tough questions. They've answered them as candidly as they can. How important is it for that minority company to understand that while there's this contract out there and you're going to go out and solicit this investment in you, you've got to make an investment in you.
Definitely.
Because coming to Penn or any other resource is going to entail an investment. So how important is that?
Extremely important. And what we teach everybody is that you're going to invest something. You invest time or money, and most times you're going to invest both. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it, you have to be prepared to do it. So, and it's extremely important because you get out of things what you put into it. A lot of times people, and like we talked about earlier, I need $20,000. Okay, I give you this $20,000. I'm expecting not a whole lot from because it's only $20,000. And that's how we have to start looking at our businesses. If you're not investing money into it, so one of our first questions is, what's your business development budget? I don't have one. So how are you serious about growing your business if you haven't set a budget for it? So again, I say extremely important because now you can really start tracking what the ROI is. If you haven't invested in anything, why are you expecting a return? If you haven't invested, and again, financially invest in anything, but it starts with getting that access to capital. You got to have the access to capital to have something to invest to see what kind of return you can get.
And also getting your company structured correctly, especially with getting into government contracting. And that was something that when I first started, I went and got my certification first. I wanted to be certified as a minority woman-owned business firm. So if I was going to go after government contracting, that's advantageous for me to have that certification. So those were the things that I went and I researched the market. I want to go into government contracting. I want to be looked upon as serious about this business. So I did get a CPA. I did get my business plan together. I did sit down and put together, a marketing budget because someone needs to know that we're out here. So we need to be able to market the business appropriately. So those were things, if I wanted to be taken seriously, then I had to sit down and really structure my business and get everything lined up and in order so that I could go after the contracts.
What she brought up right there is basically creating a competitive advantage. And a lot of people don't understand that in government contracting, you're shrinking the market just by knowing something about the market, first and foremost. And then once you get your certification as a African-American owned business, as a woman-owned business, you shrunk your competition again. You're getting that hub zone or hub certification. You shrink your competition again. And again, just knowing the industry, knowing the different levels of it. Because again, with government contracting, there is a federal side and then there's also a state and local side. Mm-hmm. You got to understand how each of those are different and how you leverage each of them based on your certifications and again, create a competitive advantage for yourself.
And we always advocate for all businesses that are in the marketplace. We advocate for the trade organizations, for all the councils, NMSTC, the government contracting, from the 7A to 8A to 504, the disadvantage, the hub zone. We advocate for all that. You got the LGBT community. I mean, you have all these trade organizations that are saying we're here to certify you because some state and some government and some corporations, they all count a certain amount of spend. We've seen that when we were in Detroit this past week. They're looking for companies that they can align themselves with, that they can, do a certain amount of spend with these major corporations do a certain amount of spend with these minority vendors. As back in the day, we kept Toyota's spend count. Toyota was spending $17.5 billion. They had a 10% spend count of minority inclusion goals, which was $1.7 billion. So that's important. It's a little piece, like Jesse said, it's 3 cents on the dollar, 10 cents on the dollar, but it's some money. And you're in, like you said, David, you're in a short line. And I think I used to share that with AD and Tracy them a lot. Like it's a different ball game if you got a good business. You get in that short line, but you get in that back door and you come out the front. You come out the front door and you open it up, but let's give back. We advocate on let's give back.
Please, let's give back.
Yeah. So, but, this is what we do every day. Every single day is constant conversation, is constant, strategic partnerships. You guys set up a training session for our team. I think when LaRonda and Chiquita and all the other staff members came to your office, we went through a training session with you on how this really works and how do we align ourselves. And I think more people got to start doing that.
Definitely. Like I say, it starts with acquiring that knowledge and skill and then applying it. And once you're able to do that, you can really see how it can return for you in the form of revenues and profits. The key, though, is, again, strategic partnerships, making sure you have the right relationships. Government contracting is all about that, gaining access to the proper decision maker and knowing where the next step is, where the next dollar is.
Yeah, so government contracting is key. It's important. Being a minority-owned business in the marketplace is important, and you don't lose anything by becoming a minority supplier. Some people don't want to carry that tagline like, well, I'm a good business. Yeah, but it's okay for you to be a minority supplier and get in that door and get a part of that spend count or get a part of the government.
Can't get emotional in business. Can't get emotional in business. It has to be about the numbers and and understanding that this is a business opportunity. Again, it's going to create another revenue stream for you if you do get that certification and put yourself in the right space in that arena.
Sure. And one of the things I find particularly interesting is that for whatever reason, in the past decade or so, there has been this implied stigma that you don't want to have the cachet of being a minority business. We would contend quite the contrary. In fact, to your point, as you gain knowledge and you gain market share, you're shrinking the market to some degree, but through innovation, you're creating other markets. How many technologies and other products and services have come out of what started out as a singular business and then diversified into some other areas? Same thing. How many different objectives, or what singular objective did a business have to make money? And then all of a sudden they created jobs, created products and services in other areas, diversified revenue, and created jobs. So think of yourself not as a minority business, but as an empire that happened to be founded, run, and grown by a minority.
Yes, that's powerful.
Take us to the break, Jesse.
You want me to take you to the break?
Yeah, take us out.
This is going to officially be an outtake. But we're live on Penn Global News with myself, Jesse McRae, my partners, Rodney Woods, Antonio Davis, and our great guests here at Ally. Please announce yourselves. It sounds
David
so good.
Jackson. Pleasure being here.
Victoria Stevenson. It's very nice to be here.
And we're going to be back in less than 2 minutes.
Staying hydrated is key to living a healthy life. So why not make sure the water you drink is the healthiest water possible? Earth Water is dedicated to producing healthy, refreshing water that packs up to 70 trace minerals in each bottle. Their mineral complexes are 100% natural, and their water is sourced from pure, fresh Texas springs. Their premium alkaline water helps you reach maximum hydration, so you can live your healthiest life possible. Earth Water is more than just water. It's a lifestyle. Around the world, athletes, competitors, and adventurers have chosen Earth Water as their water of choice, taking it with them from ringside to courtside to mountainside. Their proprietary blend of fulvic and humic complexes bind to over 70 trace minerals and deliver them into the body for better absorption and maximum benefit. At Earth Water, they believe everyone should live their healthiest life, and they're dedicated to producing products that make that possible. Shop Earth Water now, exclusively on Amazon, and visit earthwater.com to learn more.
This time I know who I am. I know I'm going to have the mic. Penn Global News with Jesse McRae and my partners Rodney Woods and Antonio Davis. We've got some fabulous strategic partners with us. A special guest. They're going to talk a little bit more about the business, and I guess we're going to use as the term of this hour, this half hour, the cachet of being in the minority space. But please introduce yourselves yet again to our audience.
Yes, I'm Victoria Stevenson, founder, CEO, and president of Allied Supply Chain Support and Services.
David Jackson. I am the COO as well as the SVP of Business Development for Allied Supply Chain Support and Services.
We're going to put the incomparable by your name in parentheses.
I won't lie, it will fit. It will fit. The shoe fits.
Jesse always does a great job with this stuff, right? This is our Reverend Jesse J. McRae.
I have a fabulous deacon boy.
We give him prayer cloth moments, man. But no, I mean, it's always an honor to have, a group like yours, Victoria and David, to come and, at least give that knowledge to the viewing public and the listening audience. I mean, everybody needs that education. We all just come together as a team. We can strive and open up a lot of doors and help a lot of companies that really want to get to the next level get there. But you got to want it, right? You got to really, really want this. And I mean, as a business,
You got to have some skin in the game.
You got to have skin in the game. And every business that we know of, that we interface with, and I'll say it particular, they all looking for capital. That's why we built Playbook Investors Network. Ourselves, everybody's looking for capital to scale their business and grow and get to the next level. Because at the end of the day, as Jesse always says, when you get capital, this is for human capital. You got to buy people. You got to buy equipment, then you got to purchase equipment, but somebody got to operate that equipment. We got to do a lot of training. We have a lot of millennials that are coming up in this space, and they're not going to work in corporate America.
Right.
You know, they don't even have to look to work in corporate America. You know, so they're going to have to learn other skill sets, and we've got to create more jobs. If we don't create jobs, there's going to be a whole lot of problems anyway. So we look at that, you know, and we take this very seriously. We're honored to have, you know, good influencers like Antonio, who's been going around the country, you know, meeting businesses, you know, understanding the whole game, that he could be an influence to so many other athlete entertainers who said, I didn't even know that this space existed. So this is why we do what we do, you know.
And I think that's kind of lost on some people. They really don't understand the power of their influence. You know, just be honest about it. Some of these guys, they young. They really young when they getting into this space, making all this money, and they really don't understand the power of their influence, even at that early stage. They don't see how many eyes are really on them, and people are paying attention to the moves that they're making, and can make a major impact in some communities, especially like what you say with job creation, ownership, owning something, and then bringing on people to come in and work for you. Because again, a lot of people will. They just the fact to say, hey man, you know, I actually work for Antonio Davis. I work for Tracy McGrady. I work for these guys. Like it's that kind of thing that, you know, is lost on I think a lot of individuals when it comes to the power of their influence.
I think so many times as athletes we've been, you know, hey, we got to get a non-for-profit, or we're just going to take money and give it back to the community. And I think what I'm hearing here is, you know, there's a way that we can create some revenue streams back in so that it's not just a one-time gift. And I think that's what we have to start realizing is, let's plant that seed. Let's plant some seeds all over the place so that that gift keeps on giving. And if we can think from that place, then we do understand what we're trying to do here. And that's been my message, at least.
And that, again, it ties right into government contracting while we're in that space, because a lot of people, one, they see government contracting, they hear the numbers that we put out there. So USAspending.gov is one of the sites that we use. We go out there and you can pull some data and see how much the government is spending. At one time, in last year, 2017, the last fiscal year for the government, they had spent $9 billion in 5 months in the state of Texas with Texas-based businesses.
But you might need to repeat that.
billion with a B, billion, $9 billion.
In how long?
In 5 months.
Now,
5 months. And that's the first part of their fiscal year.
Now, what's astonishing about that is that we've all been engaged with a specific institution that will go unnamed on this broadcast that's got $30 billion that they've got to put to work over 3 years. But that's 3 years. And you're talking about a specific institution that spent 30% of that in 5 months.
Yes.
Okay. So yet again, we've just got some work to do.
Yes,
because if we're all complicit in this thing called commerce, then we need to be directly engaged in how to leverage it and take advantage of it. So
I think Jesse just got excited, Dave.
Yeah. Oh man, I perked up. One thing about me, my middle name may be Claiborne, but it translates into fiscal. Yeah. Okay? It translates into fiscal. But anyway, we were talking during the break about the importance of making sure that we are not only aware of who we are categorically, but understanding that there's a lot of cachet as it relates to who we're aligned with that also happen to be minority. So let's talk a little bit about the alumni and some of these specific influences that are associated with you and your company and with the rest of us in the marketplace.
Again, when we were talking earlier about being identified as a minority firm, and is there a stigma behind that? Well, there are agencies that, as a minority firm, that you should align yourself with. I'm actually a Goldman Sachs alumni, and they helped tremendously with our growth strategy plan. And we also have the Regional Black Contractors Association. We have the DFW Minority Supplier Diversity Council. Those are advocates. The Regional Hispanic Contractors Association, the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Dallas Hispanic Chamber, the Pan Asian Chamber. So these are agencies and chambers and trade organizations, local organizations that are invaluable resources that are advocates out there promoting minority woman-owned businesses. They actually volunteer a lot of their services, or they're a nonprofit that actually work with the agencies to say, look, These are our members. This is who we stand for.
And I'll tell you a very valuable resource that everybody can go do. Google. Just Google anything you want to know about any trade organizations, whether it be NMSDC, whether it be WeBank, whether it be LGBTQ community, the government. Google. Just look it up. That's all you have to do. Just go out there.
In this day and
look it
age,
up.
take advantage of that technology. You must take advantage of it.
Yeah, and technology
Everything's
is
at your
driving.
fingertips.
I'm one who says, stop it.
Musical mics.
Just like when we used to have, this water bottle sitting there, and I'm like, listen, we're gonna take this wrapper off because we're not branding anything else that's not helping us. So I'm gonna scrap that Google stuff and just say, get online and go out there and find the information. Put it in a search bar and try to get it because it's there. There's so many things I think that we sit and make excuse, but I think the internet takes a lot of that away, because if you just ask it a question and continuously search, you're going to find what you're looking for. And then if you get confused, you can always go to Playbook Investors Network, and we can kind of point you in the right direction.
What was that website again?
Playbook Investors with an S.
With an
Network.
S. Network.com.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you, that was not a shameless promotion. It was direct to you and you and you. But no, all humor aside, you're absolutely right, because it's time out for apathy. I mean, the information is there. We got to go get it. We all know that in various aspects of our growing up, they said put something in a book and don't worry about them. They won't find it. Well, you can't say that anymore, because it's called the World Wide Web, and you stumbling over pop-up ads about opportunities that you can get. So let's refuse to be apathetic. Regardless of the venue that you go to, Playbook Investors Network with an S.com is there for you as a valuable resource. Brought on the show today, two great strategic partners. We are immeasurably excited to have you all here, because as with all of our guests, you bring so much credibility to what it is that we do. And this is just the beginning. This is
Definitely.
just the beginning. I mean, this
Scratching the
is,
surface.
we scratching the surface. We scratching the surface. So all that said, how important, we talk about these institutions and being aligned with them, briefly tell us how important that has been intangibly in terms of the perception, and then tangibly in terms of the execution and the market share.
Just like what you said, it adds credibility to your firm. You can say you're a Goldman Sachs alumni. There's prestige to that name, brand power. You bring it up all the time, and that name recognition, that brand, it really does a lot for your business. Especially, again, we have to understand that there are stigmas about minority-owned businesses, and those things are out there. Like, it's cited in several reports that those stigmas are out there, and other businesses have them, agencies have them. So you have to do everything you can to align yourself against those stigmas. So again, strategic partnerships like the ones that we have with Goldman Sachs, like the one we have with the Penn Network. These things help add credibility to what you do. And then again, why we chose government contracting. So if you get a contract with a government agency like TxDOT, like DART, like NTTA, and then you go and do some work commercially on the private side, that instantly gives you some credibility. And somebody, if you're doing work with the government, I know you can handle what I got going on over here. So again, these things are again invaluable to your business, and that's why we strive so hard to make sure every business that we come in contact with is thoroughly educated about the process, what the ins and outs of it. And again, that's why we align with Penn, so they can be thoroughly educated about how to really go about accessing capital, doing it the right way, putting the right steps in order. And with this partnership, we see a great ability to help a lot of people, a lot of small business owners, a lot of minority business owners.
How important is perseverance going to be in going through this process? Because there's a reason why I asked that. Because I know in another life, on the capital market side, even on the private equity mezz side, we would always go to these institutions. And we would always know going in, we'd remind ourselves the institutional sales cycle is inherently long. Inherently long.
I'll do this for you.
So when we talk about firms coming into the portal, and they go directly by way of the relationship managers, and they go directly to engage you, how important do you think it's going to be to make sure that you impart on them that this is going to be a process, but this is why you're investing in us as a part of Penn to walk you through that process?
We're all about transparency, being straightforward, and again, relying on the facts. So, and again, like what you said about apathy. During our presentation, we like to talk about excuses. And we say the top 5 reasons, but I tell people these are really excuses. So it's too much hard work getting into government contracting, too time consuming, takes too much planning, extensive planning, there's too much competition. I said these are all excuses. These are all excuses. Hard work is an actual characteristic and trait that you want to be known for. Like, I know you on the court, like everybody, man, he the hardest worker out here. He gonna put it in. So, but you say that. Not, so I'm gonna get you. Yeah, and you say that, but then when it comes time to actually apply it, and I just come out straight out and say it. You're a hypocrite. Keep it on. You're a hypocrite. If you're saying, man, that's too much hard work, but then the next thing out your mouth is, oh, I'm extremely hard working, you're a hypocrite. Yeah. You can't do that in this space. And again, it takes a lot of diligence, to your point, to be into the space. A lot of times what they teach people in most government contracting orientations that I attended is it's going to take you 2 to 3 years to crack into this space. Our first month in business, we had been awarded a contract. First month in business. And it's because, one, we understood the layout of government contracting. We understood the space. Yep. But it took time to understand the space. Yeah, so absolutely. In our other careers, we learned it. We studied it. We immersed ourselves in it. And again, if you are a business owner, you must immerse yourself in the business. You must learn every in and out of how to really make your business grow and generate revenue. So,
and understand up front, like you said, it is going to be a process. You've got to have staying power. Be patient. You're going to go through some hurdles, but the reward is so fulfilling at the end. And we're not talking so much monetarily, but just that I did something that I can reach back and provide, educate someone else, because if I can think that way, then the money is going to come. But first and foremost, this is a process. It's going to take time, but you are building a team, a network of people that are going to support you and have your back.
You're building a model for success. If you do it right, you get aligned with the right partners. You're building a model that we always say follow the blueprint, because again, it can be duplicated, which means again improve efficiency, improve capacity, improve profits.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about the importance of name, because we've got the name of the enterprise, but your name is attached to that enterprise, like that enterprise is attached to an institution, like that institution is attached to an initiative. So talk about the importance of a name from ground up, that when you decided to found this company, starting with your last name, what you did step by step to begin to build this.
And this is a story that I share a lot whenever someone comes into the workshops or I'm sitting in front of a group. I started from a corporate background. I had built my name, a reputation. I had traveled nationally all over the country, and I was very concerned about urban communities. And I wanted a legacy. I wanted a footprint in urban communities. But when I decided to start Allied, well, everyone knew Victoria Stevenson, but they didn't know anything about Allied. Mm-hmm. So I took that entire year attaching myself to Allied and saying Allied provides this, Allied provides that, because I wanted a good reputation for Allied. So when you talk about that name, is planting the seed, plant the seed of integrity, dedication, that anything that I promise that I'm going to deliver, then that I'm going to do everything in my power to do just that, because all I have is my word and my name. And I've learned now to even hold back. I might not can do all of that you're asking me to do. We may have to do it in stages. You'll appreciate it in the long run, won't you? Because if I come here now and say, oh, we got it all on the table right now, and I don't deliver, well, next thing Antonio's going to say, oh, I don't know. But my name is on the line. So having a company and just having a good, solid foundation of integrity, your name is important. Don't overpromise and underdeliver.
Do just the opposite.
There we go. So those are key things, and be trustworthy, and just just be solid all the way around.
Keep it real. We said that at the opening. Keep it real.
Keep it real here today. Keep it real.
Now, Ms. Stevenson, it sounds like that over time you would come into doors, and instead of it coming in the door, it's handing out your card. All of a sudden, there was this white light. These turtle doves. This harp in the background. Oh.
I want to get my crown one day.
Getting the crown. But those are so important, because again, the most important thing I'm taking away from what you said is lead with your ethics. Lead with your ethics. And you, sir, since you've been labeled as the incomparable, attaching a name to that name.
It starts with well, this is actually how I was raised. When you're out in the world, you are a reflection of your parents. So when I step out, I'm a reflection of Allied, the Allied brand, and that means something. Like he said, Nike, like that. Just do it. It means something. I know growing up, I'm playing sports. I wouldn't wear anything but Nike because that meant something. So it's with the name of Ally, with the name of Penn, it means something. These names really mean something, and what they mean is the character of the individual standing here before you, like you say, and by those ethics. I've always been somebody that said I'm not a rah-rah person. I'm a lead by example kind of person. I'm gonna outwork everybody. You're gonna know because you're gonna see it. It's not because you heard it. No, you saw it. You saw the fruits of that labor, and that's how I go about what I do as far as the name of Allied and my name personally. I always want to make sure that, again, everything I do is on the up and up with integrity, and again with the utmost work ethic. Like I live by those principles.
Now here's the question. Now your last name is a pretty common last name. I'm going somewhere with this, man. Spell that name for me.
Jackson.
Now, there's numbers associated with that name. 5.
Yep.
Okay. My name, first name in particular, just gets brutalized sometimes when people write my name because they want to put an I in it.
Yeah.
I say, I tell you what, when you say Jesse, think James. Think outlaw.
Yeah.
Okay, but when they think Jackson, they're thinking dollars.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit of humor.
They're thinking action.
1987, one of my favorite movies. Don't let me get nostalgic.
Yeah.
Don't let me get the Action Jack.
That's it.
You know what? Let it from this point forward. So let it be written. So let it be done. You're Action Jackson.
Yep.
On Penn Global News. So anyway, Mr. Woods, did you have something colorful that you wanted to interject?
No, so
I'm gonna keep my mic.
Take us to the break. Okay. Take us to the break.
All right. All humor aside, Jesse McRae, Penn Global News with my partners Rodney Woods and the incomparable Mr. Antonio Davis, Mr. NBA, future Hall of Fame. I'm putting that plug in right now.
Whoa,
with our strategic partners here from Allied, Ms. Stevenson and Mr. Jackson. We'll be back in a couple of moments to kind of do a wrap up of the show, and hopefully it's been good for you. Give us 2 minutes, and we're gonna leave you something memorable. I promise.
Staying hydrated is key to living a healthy life. So why not make sure the water you drink is the healthiest water possible? Earth Water is dedicated to producing healthy, refreshing water that packs up to 70 trace minerals in each bottle. Their mineral complexes are 100% natural, and their water is sourced from pure, fresh Texas springs. Their premium alkaline water helps you reach maximum hydration so you can live your healthiest life possible. Earth Water is more than just water. It's a lifestyle. Around the world, athletes, competitors, and adventurers have chosen Earth Water as their water of choice, taking it with them from ringside to courtside to mountainside. Their proprietary blend of fulvic and humic complexes bind to over 70 trace minerals and deliver them into the body for better absorption and maximum benefit. At Earth Water, they believe everyone should live their healthiest life, and they're dedicated to producing products that make that possible. Shop Earth Water now, exclusively on Amazon, and visit earthwater.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Penn Global News. I'll tell you what, this has been a fast hour and 44 minutes. I'm not done. I don't know if you all are done. I'm not done. I want to just stay here for a while longer because we're getting some good food. But the most important thing is we never want you to forget where to go to find not only the archive footage, but more importantly, the information on our venue in terms of how we can help you. So I told you there'd be something memorable. And this is where it gets to be totally unscripted. Make sure everybody's paying attention to the website. The website is
Play.
Book. Investors with an S.
You know what, man? I
knew that was coming.
You stole my thunder.
I knew it was coming.
You stole my thunder.
I couldn't wait.
You stole my thunder.
These are the guys that I work with, ladies and gentlemen. This is constant, every day. And I'm in there trying to learn, being a sponge. I'm trying to be serious. And this is what I get.
It's a comedy of errors. Admittedly, it's a comedy of errors. But Playbook Investors Network with an S.
Yeah. Network, and then we
.com.
I think everybody knows where to go now.
I think they know where to go now. Thank you, sir.
I listen. My last comment is basically there's really no shortcuts to success, and whether it's getting help or being honest about who you are, what you do, and networking and having the right partners. There's just no shortcuts to it. There's certain things that you have to do if you want to be successful. And I think when you're being successful, there's always another level, and that's pulling somebody else up. So if I haven't heard anything, I will be contacting you guys because I'm looking for a pull-up, and I'm going to be looking to pull somebody else up. So I really want to thank you guys for being here.
Again, pleasure. Again, the whole purpose is to educate, inform, and then do something once you get that information. Don't just sit on it. You got to move.
Yeah, because a big reason why they're coming we hope that they're coming to Playbook Investors Network is to become engaged with strategic partners like yourselves, to be able to leverage the other resources that we have there in terms of the relationship managers and complementary strategic partners and subject matter experts. But let's not lose sight of the number one goal. You're coming to the PlaybookInvestorsNetwork.com to learn how to get capital. We can always make friends, okay? But let's do some business.
Please.
Let's do some business. And that's what this is about. So all that said, I know we were talking about the importance of a name. As we kind of go into the close of the show, what are the 3 or 4, maybe 5 things, and I'm always asking for a little bit more, the 3, 4, or 5 things that you really believe that would prove beneficial to a minority supplier that comes in and say, you know what, I do want to do government contracting. I want to diversify my business. So what are those 4 or 5 things that you would impart on them and say, look, be prepared for this, or these are the things we need to do. More importantly, this is what we will expect to do with you once you come to the portal. Talk a little bit about that, because that's going to be the value add, in my opinion.
First and foremost, attend one of our Follow the Blueprint series. It's a free workshop. Come check that out. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours. You will not regret that investment of your time. Like I said, everything is an investment, and we value people's time, and definitely take advantage of that. Next, do some research. Don't be scared. Like we said, the technology is at your fingertips. Do some research on the market. Learn the ins and outs of your business. Really learn your business. You know how to perform your service, but really learn business. Take advantage of resources that help you be educated about the actual infrastructure of your business. Learn some things about business acumen, and take advantage of each and every resource that's available to you. A lot of times there are free resources, and everybody feels, that's what I got to use. I got to use that because it's free. Sometimes you got to spend some money. you got to spend some money. They say take money to make money. It's true. You cannot just depend and put all your eggs in a basket where this is something that's free. So take advantage of other resources, and definitely do your homework on government contracting. Learn about all the different agencies and where your business really fits. Learn your industry.
But they're also going to have you as a resource to help guide them through that.
Definitely. That's why I say make sure they go to that workshop. Make sure you attend that workshop and learn some more about the space.
The other is, and we touched on that earlier, is that look at your model, your existing model, and identify areas where there's a weakness or inefficiencies, and so that you can correct that. Because when you come into government contracting, it's going to encompass that you have structure and organization. Understand your books. Understand where you are financially. And then most important, a business plan. You've got to understand how you want to grow your business. And in order to be successful in any business, whether that's on the private side or even through government contracting, you've got to understand how do you plan to grow your business and understand your financials so that you can get additional access to capital. And if you don't understand how your money is working for you, then why are you in business?
Right.
Wow. This is where we say, you know, I really didn't want the cookies. I just wanted to see if you were going to give me the cookies. And now that I know that the answer is no, I hate that I even asked. I know, Mr. Davis.
I know, it's okay.
We just
We're
having
okay.
fun with it. We're just
It's-
having fun with it. Was something you
okay.
wanted to add, sir?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing at all. Can
Sir?
you give him back the mic, please?
Excuse me. Okay, you can have the mic.
So, Dave, would you guys also give your website, you know, so everybody can come out and view who you guys are?
You can go to allied-scss.com. That's S as in Sam, C as in cat, S as in Sam, S as in Sam.com. We're at Instagram at allied-scss. We keep it real simple with that. Allied SCSS.
Yeah, that's very.
We like those S's around here in case didn't nobody know. What's the S?
Vertical line means that.
So that's very important for the the viewing public and the listening audience to understand who you are, where to go, find you, and reach out to Allied. Allied is going to be a great strategic partner of PEN, and we're honored and privileged to have you guys as partners also. Continue to view us at www.playbookinvestorsnetwork.com.
Please keep getting fed. Great information
absolutely,
coming.
right. PEN Global News. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We have PEN Global News. We're also on Roku now, and we have an app coming out, PEN Global News app, that a free app that will be coming out that people can actually download and see PEN all the time, every day, 24/7. But it's all important for us to just continue to push and persevere and get through a lot of things we didn't think we would get there. With the partnerships I have in Jesse McRae and Antonio Davis and Tracy and the others and the team, behind us, LaRonda Heights, Chiquita Tate, Jay, doing our programming here. It's all a team effort, and if we ever miss anybody, when we're trying to, give acknowledgments, we truly don't like to miss anybody, right? It's all about the team. But more importantly, this show is every Thursday, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon every Thursday. When we go to different states, we will launch our show in different states as we did in Indiana. We'll be going to.
Very excited about it.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very much.
We'll probably be going to. We'll probably get another 9 to 10 states off the ground before December 31st. So we always invite you guys to attend with us. But I'm going to let my Reverend close our show out today of PEN Global News, and he's going to get an opportunity to take us home and take us into the next week. Jesse McRae.
I tell you, this has been great, and the most important takeaway again for our viewers is to understand that this is about information, part one, but hopefully we will compel you to action. Okay, we covered a lot of things today. And I know that there's a lot of questions. Go back, visit the archive footage, engage us on the various social networks where we exist. Go to the website. Remember, anything we didn't cover, pun intended, put a pin in it, because it's always intended for us to win in it. Okay? So have a great week. Until then, continued success.
Well, before we go, we still got a few things. We just want you to close the show out. So, Antonio, do you have anything you want to expound on?
Oh, this is going to be rich.
No.
This is going to be rich.
No, I have nothing. I'm not. I don't have anything. Am I supposed to say something? Is there something I'm missing, Mr. Woods? Because
No, just in case you had anything you want to expound on before we close out the show. But we still got a few minutes left, and we want to make sure we don't shortchange our audience.
No.
We got 6 minutes and 47 seconds.
Okay. No. The biggest one for me, like I said, was, there's no shortcuts. I just really believe that sometimes people, especially in this day and age, they want things to happen like this. And I always say anything that happens like this will fall like that. So if you're putting in the time, money, and energy to build a business, obviously something you're passionate about, obviously something you want to make money about, it has to start with education and allowing yourself to be told the truth, see the truth, and then, partnering with the right people. So if people don't hear anything else out there, it's very important that you understand this thing takes time. And, you know, you're not going to go out there and skip some steps and think that you're going to get there a little bit faster, because it just doesn't work like that. And I'm glad that, you know, we had an opportunity. We always have an opportunity each and every week to learn something new, hopefully bring it to you guys in the most simplistic form, and at the same time entertain you a little bit. But I'm always one to just, you know, big thankful, because I consider myself a rookie in this space, and it's always awesome to hear people come and lay it down, and then I go back and translate it to my guys. So thank you guys once again.
Pleasure. And it's very interesting what you just said about being a rookie in the space, because I've always kind of aligned athletics and sports with business. Like I feel everything that you've done in your career kind of set you up for what you're doing now. The different things that you had to go through in your career to be in that position, adversities on and off the court. You know, you have things going on, and you gotta, and now you apply that to business. It's amazing. Like I say, I didn't make it to that level. I was in college. That's as far as I made it. College football, Oklahoma State University, and I'm out there, and I'm like, man, it's guys 3 times my weight, size, height, and they can do everything I can do. You know, the lights come on, and you like, wow, like.
Division I is real.
It's real. So, but you take that and you say, well, how can I apply this to get better, to still get to where I want to go? And that's the same thing in business. Sometimes you're seeing things that are out there, and you're like, man, how do I get to this next step? It's about partnerships.
Yes.
It's about partnerships.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Stevens.
Yeah, one thing that, again, just emphasizing, there is no shortcuts in this arena. You have to staying power. You have to endure. You have to research your market, understand exactly, you know, why you're here in this space. That's very important. Again, we just recapping everything, your name, the branding of your firm, aligning yourself with strategic partners. Those are all critical into the success of what your business is yet to become. And we are still growing. We are still growing. It's evolutionary. We are still, you know, we want to be a success. So again, it's a process, and it just takes time.
Very, very important. That P word keeps coming up ever since the very first show. 22 weeks ago. Process. And the reason
Gwen.
that was Gwen. Yeah. That was G.
Thank you, Gwen.
She's here with us. So yeah, and also I think that a big point to make sure that we impart on our viewers is understand that, like a well-written letter or a meticulously written book, you're getting the author's interpretation of what it is that they want you to see. These institutions have created these opportunities, okay? And they are giving us their view of the landscape. Hopefully, like that letter, like that book, it inspires imagination. A well-written business letter compels you to action. But it's up to you, Action Jackson. It's up to you, right, to go out and execute. So when you come to the website, understand that it's a resource that a lot of commitment, a lot of investment's been made in it for your benefit. As Rodney has always said, going back to the first show, this is not about us. We refuse, we, and every other guest that's been on any of these shows, we refuse to be apathetic. So let's step to action. Let's be committed to win. Understand that there are things you don't know, but be willing to go through the process to get to know what those opportunities are. We don't want to call them mitigants. We want to call them opportunities so that we can go to the next level. So that's the last thing I'll say.
Well, one thing also, we lost another peer of ours who was a part of our team. Reggie, he passed yesterday. He used to put on our golf outing. So our prayers go out to Reggie and his family, and also AD. We want to also say happy birthday to you coming up here next week.
No, it's not.
Happy birthday to you.
We want to say happy birthday to AD as well. But
thank you.
Our
man.
prayers go out to
Appreciate
Reggie and his family, and AD. We wish you a happy birthday on next week.
Thank you.
As you travel.
Thank you very much, man.
Close us
Appreciate
out,
that.
big fella.
So again, go to the website, www.playbookinvestorsnetwork.com. Leverage the resource. Remain committed to your business. Aside from anything that we might say, it represents noise. It's well intended. But ultimately, if you're not quite where you think you need to be, express that disenchantment with the first person that you see in the mirror. But look beyond yourself to find encouragement in the marketplace, and it can start right here. So be committed to that. We wish you the very best. We've got a week to go. We'll see you on the next show. Jesse McRae, Rodney Woods, Antonio Davis, Allied here with Miss Even Stevenson and Mr. Action Jackson. Thank you so much for being on board with us. Continued success to you as well. We'll see you next week.